This content is not suitable for persons under 13 years of age. Oh, don't kill me. Hello and welcome back again, Bots and Bits fans. Today we're taking a look at the White Knight WK001 Awakening Ava. Hang on, let me just fix that, and I've got this fella. Bit better. Now, first things first, I picked this up from the very good fellas over at showzstore.com. They helped make this review possible. Now, the first run of this guy has sold out, but they do have a pre-order running. I'm not sure when it comes out, but this guy is huge and with heaps of accessories and is about the $100 US mark. That is suspiciously cheap. Now, someone on my Facebook commented that this is a KO of the Medicom Toys Ava. I don't think they've released an Awakened Ava like this just yet, but they do have the original Ava that they've done from the movies, and most of the details are pretty much exactly the same. But that's enough about that. Let's get it out of the box. There he is, all out of the box. Now, isn't that an impressive looking figure? I'm really, really blown away by this. Really, really love it. Not so much that I'd pleasure myself sexually to this guy or anything, but I am really, really gushing over just how this looks straight out of the box. Let's just check out the size of him first. He is 32 centimeters from toe to head. And for size comparison, here he is with Hot Toys Predator, Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and a NECA Ninja Turtle. I know, shut up. Now, White Knight's Awakening Ava has a ton of accessories. So we'll try and get through these quickly. First up, we get a lot of swappable hands. His right hands are all the mechanical hands, and then the left hands are the rebuild or awoken hands. So this pair I have here is for the core from Zuriel, when Shinji's trying to pull Rei out of the core, causing the fourth impact, was it? You get a pair that match just like that. And it looks pretty fantastic on him. Also get a pair of splayed fingers, a couple of fists, and these, are they AT field ripping hands? Or, I don't know. We also get this one. Now, the rest of these hands are all done pretty damn well. They are purple plastic with purple paint over the top, green knuckles, a little bit of orange detail there, and some really accurate panel lining, which I'm really happy with. They're all bendy and flexible, but this hand here is for holding the Spear of Cassius. Now, this is done amazingly. It is a nice metallic red paint with a little bit of metallic like turquoise in the middle there, some black detail. The sculpting on this looks fantastic. There is only one sprue mark there in the back. Now, for this, what you want to do is grab this little bit here and put this in the holdy hand, and then we're going to attach this end. Now, this is a very tight fit, and I do worry that these little grey pegs may snap because they do bend slightly. So let's just slot this on. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a curve to it. It's not completely straight. Maybe if I twist it around, that's not really helping. So there it is. The Spear of Cassius is absolutely huge. Look at that. And it looks just amazing on him. Look how huge that is. That is a very cool look. I really, really dig it. Another fun accessory that we have is this little meat plug. What? Now, to attach this, we're just going to unpeg this arm. It's just a push plug, so you just wiggle it out. It is a particular shape, so we're just got to find this point. And I think the point is angled here. It's a very, very tight... Oh, there goes his nose. This nose horn is always falling off. So there it is attached. It doesn't really go all the way flush, and it is a super tight peg hole. So I probably wouldn't want it to go all the way flush, or you'd never get it out again. Now the last arm related accessory we have is this articulated rebuilt arm. It's got a hinged elbow, but it's also got push plugs holding the hinge in. So you do get a bicep swivel and a forearm swivel. I find these are more of a pain in the ass than they need to be, because they do get in the way of the elbow bend. The arm that comes with it is just this one solid piece with a hand attached. Now the ball, take that off. Now the ball socket holding the hand does have a hinge in it, but I don't find that it really does much once the hand is attached. And attaching the articulated arm is just as simple as plugging it in and giving it a twist. We also get this clear clamping frame, which is to clamp either side of Ava's torso, and then you put the Spira Cassius in the front and the back, so it looks like he's been impaled by it. And then we also have his halo, which has this little stem bit here that just plugs in like that. Now, it's not very tight, so it just feels like it's sort of sitting on there, so it is a little bit of a pain in the ass. Now, to attach the halo, the Ava has a diamond shape in the back of its head, and we're just going to slot this little armature in there like that. Now, that holds in nice and tight. It's just this top bit here that is a little bit of a problem for me. Chuck the horn back on if it will stay. So there it is with the halo. Now, the last thing we have is the entry plug. Now, to use the entry plug, open this section here, and then this section here will slide up. And then grab our entry plug. Which way does it go in? Yellow goes in the top, I think. You can't alter the depth or anything at all. When you put the entry plug in, it is just sitting there. See, it just goes in like that. One of the best parts and one of the most frustrating parts of this set, it's his display stand. Now we have this solid base here, which takes 3 AA batteries, and then we get these weird sort of LED pylons. They have like an audio jack there, and that just plugs in like that, like that. Now they're fully rotatable, and they also have a ratcheted hinge. Let me just pull back a little bit so we can get a better look. Ratcheted hinge at the lights, like so, and then it has, oh, look out, oh. Nearly lost him. So now we just have a little power switch down the back here, and then we have the blue LEDs. Now they are nice and bright, and there is a ton of them. So it is a very unique, very cool look, something very different. On top of that, we also get a support arm for the Ava. Now, my problem with this is, while that seems like a very suitable support arm, it's so loose and these bits barely hold in that it more or less drags the Ava down. So the weight of the arm is actually impacting holding the Ava. Fucking useless. So let's focus back on something I do love about this set, and that is shiny things. We have this umbilical cable, right? It's just got a couple of mono audio jacks in it. Now we just plug it into the base right there, and then this goes into the usual spot right there, and then oh, check that out. Beautiful face. Check it out. So the umbilical cord provides power from the base to the Ava, lighting up the eyes and lighting up this part of the arm. And when you open the mouth, you get residual light from inside coming out of the mouth. Now, time to switch the lights off again. Look at that. That is worth the price of admission alone. I am so blown away by this. It looks fantastic. I am so in love with how this looks. Now, like I said, got a couple of LEDs in the head, but then we also have an LED here in the arm to illuminate the whole rebuilt arm. You see that? I see what they were trying to do. It hasn't really worked too well because it just sort of illuminates the top. It works a little bit better on the solid arm. The light travels through it a little bit more because there's no hinges or anything like that. But it still doesn't work as well as I suppose that they wanted, or that some of the pictures advertise. Enough gushing over some cheap lights. Let's take a look at the figure itself and see how it moves and what it looks like, and whether this is actually worth it and I'm just not suckered in by clear plastic and LEDs. So details wise, this guy has a lot going on, especially for something so simplistic. So up on the head we have purple plastic with clear red eyes, and we've got this very thick fluorescent orange paint all over it. It's done quite nice. There's not any dirt in it. There's not any chipping. Not seeing any of that, but it is quite thick. So I think if you were a little bit too rough with it, you might start to get chippage. We also have his little pink kawaii cheeks going on. We've got painted grey plastic here, I believe, and then also the mouth does open to show off the red inner teeth. Now the head is on a ball socket. You do get a ton of posability out of this head simply because it's on a ball socket and there's not really anything impeding it. What we have going on with the neck is we've got a ball socket here, a straight neck, and then a ball socket sort of here in the collar area. So you can chicken neck quite a bit. But I did have a moment where the top of the head sort of come off. That was very concerning. I thought I just completely ruined it. Thankfully, nothing that can't be fixed with a dob of super glue. Being a ball socket, it means we get a ton of freedom with the head. You can turn it left that far, right that far, and then we have a down at the head like that, and an up at the head. Now the back of the head, this detail here, is sort of hitting the entry plug area. You can just push the head back a little bit to get it over the top, but not by much. We can also get like a curious look either side, and that's about it for the head. I tried not to turn it too far. It's got some wires on the inside. You're not really too sure what the soldering is like inside the head, so I didn't want to push it too far. Down to the shoulders. Both shoulders have a pretty awesome butterfly effect. You can see it better on this one like that, with this little shoulder armor connected to the top, and this side has the pylon. That's quite loose, but it is meant to just sort of sit wherever this arm lands, so it doesn't really matter. Now the rebuild arm, it does have wires going through it, so I'm not going to rotate it the full 360. I can get it up to about there pretty easily, and then back gets to there, no issue. When it comes to the outward motion, the rebuild arm doesn't get too far at all. This rubber collar area is really sort of impeding it. That's about the limit of the range. This side, however, that doesn't have the same limitations. There's more room to move, so that arm will get a full 90 degrees, and that joint is nice and stiff. And the rotation gets about the same as the rebuild arm, and the same back. Now, as you can see, the rebuild arm that I got on here is the solid piece. You can get like a bicep swivel out of that push plug, but it breaks up the sculpt just a little bit, as you can see. Further down, got a ball socket for the hand, as you know, so you get quite a bit of movement, and then there is that little hinge, but you don't really get too much out of that one. Over on this arm, now they've done something pretty interesting with this. This is a solid piece, this upper shoulder area, and then we have like a metal skeleton going on the inside, and this rubber coat, this cover, which is glued to the arm here at this orange bit. The rubber sort of fights against it, so you get a good bend like that, but then when you let go, the force of the rubber is sort of pushing the arm down, and that's about as high as it will stay. Not too bad. You can still get some pretty dynamic poses. And the orange details on this look fantastic. The only problem I'm having is this is just one solid black piece with these orange bits glued on top. And now that I've flexed it a bit, you can see it's starting just to peel that bit and that bit just a little bit. Again, nothing I can't fix with glue, but just something to note. Now when it comes to the torso, what we've got going on here is a metal skeleton on the inside with like a wetsuit sort of material that's got a bit of foam in it over the top. So we've got a ball socket at the top of the torso. I'm not sure if you see that, so you get a bit of movement and a bit of twist. It doesn't really hold. The wetsuit is sort of pushing it back. There's no real strength holding it there. But then we have another joint here and another joint here, so you get a amazing bend. It will hold most of it, but the strength of the wetsuit will sort of spring it back up. And then you can get get her bending back a little bit, but again, she just sort of springs back. Then you can also get her bending that way, but she flicks back, and that way, which she kind of holds. You can twist the entire torso as well, which is a good look for running, I think. Now, some of the details that we have on this, as you can see, the main chest armor is missing. Got a little bit of airbrushing there, and then we have the Ava's core poking out. That's just a solid piece. It's not painted or anything. I think it's just the dye that they've used. Purple paint here with a bit of panel lighting. The fluoro orange here looks fantastic. Again, it's done pretty thick, but it's also super smooth, really smooth, and some grey painted spinal details there. Now the legs are highly articulated as well, but slightly lacking. When it comes to the hip spread, let me just come up a little bit. You only get to there because the armor is sort of digging into this arse flap here, and that's die-cast metal, that arse flap, so that's not going anywhere. You can sort of maneuver it around to get a little bit more, but it really, I mean, you get enough for a dynamic pose, but she's not doing the splits, that's for sure. Front and back is pretty good. get all the way back that far, and then all the way forward that far. I'm finding the forward is bunching up the wetsuit a little bit, so that's about all I really want to do. But that's a pretty awesome stride. And then we have a double jointed knee. You get a pretty amazing bend on that. That is nice and strong, very tight, with the material covering the skeleton. And then as you can already see, the kneecap here sort of folds around if you wanted it to, so you can cover some of that material detail up. The other side is exactly the same, and it is super stiff as well. Very, very happy with that die-cast skeleton in there. So when it comes to the feet, we have a few things going on. The feet are just on push plugs inside the ankle there. So you can see we've got a bend there for the ankle, and we've also got a huge pivot. And because it's a push plug, we get a bit of a limited swivel as well because of this sort of angle detail. So we can get, you know, a few degrees either side. Then we get forward that far, and then back that far, and the pivot is super tight. I really felt like I was going to do some damage on the inside of this leg here, but once I got it once, it ended up being alright. But still, you get a pivot to about there, which is about as far as the legs want to stretch anyway, so it matches what the rest of the figure can do. We've also got a toe bend right there, which is pretty extreme, and as you probably would have been able to tell by now, this little flap here, this like angle armor, is just a very squishy pliable rubber that's just sort of slotted onto this here. From me bending it a few times, you see I've got a bit of a crease going on in there. So looks like it might degrade. I probably wouldn't leave it like that for too long. But that aside, all the joints in the feet are done really, really well, and they are nice and stiff. Fluoro paint on this is done pretty well. This whole sole of the foot is die-cast metal as well. This all looks fantastic. That all looks fantastic. There's little bits of detail in the kneecap as well. You can see the paint's gone on a little bit thick, but it still looks great. Tons of panel lining all the way up the leg, in the crotch area, everywhere up the spine. It's got some great details in it. I'm really happy with this. I put, you know, a couple of little issues, but they're not taking away from the joy of having this, that's for sure. Alright, all of that out of the way. Is it worth it, and should you buy it? I'm going to say yeah, it is. It's good round price at $100 US. Yes, I did have a number of flaws with my copy. A handful of little things that for some people it might all ball together to be a big thing, and in the past it may have been a big thing with other lines and other figures. But when it comes to Evangelion, I am still really in love with this set. I feel like I've gotten what I've paid for. I'm willing to live with these flaws. And I think most people who buy this will be able to live with it as well. Now, on the Show Z Store website, did see a note on the description for this saying that the second batch, which is released now and available on showzstore.com, has rectified a number of issues. I don't know exactly what those issues are. Despite everything, I'm really happy with my purchase. And if you're a big Evangelion fan, I still highly recommend that you pick this up, because the figure itself and the stand and a lot of the accessories are well worth the money that they're asking. You can bin everything that doesn't work and it would still be worth it. But either way, I really hope that my video has been a help to you guys, and if you're interested in it, head over to Show Z Store and take a look. And that's it. Now, if you like this video and you enjoy my channel, please like and subscribe. This hasn't been announced yet, but there is a new website, www.botsandbits.net. It is the Bots and Bits network. Everything B&B and Total Legends is going to be on this site. So head over there and take a look. Don't forget that we also have the Total Legends private Facebook group. If you head over to Facebook, you can send a request in to join. Come in and talk about your collections and share all your pictures and stuff. Can't wait to see it and hear from you all. And as always, guys, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching.